I would like to welcome you to our webinar on supporting at-risk students and sustainability at Cal State Northridge with the Matador Exchange. We really appreciate you again taking the time to learn how some of your peers are connecting their campus community while promoting the safe and accessible exchanges of different goods and services among your student population. So my name is Mia K. Janis, and I am the Marketplace Development Manager from Moto Labs. And our featured speakers for today are Clayton Scott, who is the Sustainability Coordinator at California State University, Northridge. And we also have Alex Jakowski, who is the Senior Director of Commerce here at Moto Labs. So today we're going to be sharing information regarding the Moto Marketplace, which for those of you who might not be familiar with Moto or Moto Marketplace, it's a platform that allows students to exchange goods and services within their campus community, enabling affordable buying and selling amongst each other and their campus, also reducing landfill contribution of buying new items. And also it's a key engagement driver for the community and supporting vulnerable student communities and populations at your university or campus. So for the time being, I'm going to hand things off to Alex to help get our webinar started for the day. Thank you again for joining.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Mia. And I hope everyone is doing well. And as Mia alluded, in these crazy times, it's nice to, one, take our mind off things and think about how we can support students, obviously currently, but also when hopefully things get back to normal across college campuses in the US. So just wanted to give you a little bit of a breakdown of what this webinar is going to touch on. We're really privileged to have Clayton Scott here from CSUN to join us on this call and to talk a little bit about CSUN, what the campus is like and their experience so far with Marketplace. So we're going to cover a little bit of a high level of what Marketplace is and CSUN, a little bit of background on CSUN and their Sustainability Center. We'll also talk a little bit more about the sharing economy, right? It's a kind of a hot button topic, and we want to dive a little bit deeper into the impacts that the sharing economy and peer-to-peer exchanges have in a community. We'll talk a little bit about the Matador Exchange 1.0, and the Matador Exchange is what CSUN actually called their marketplace when they first rolled it out a couple of years ago. The impacts that it had on campus, why they were looking to get a marketplace, how they achieved success with that marketplace, and then fast forwarding until pretty recently when they relaunched their Matador Exchange, or the Matador Exchange 2.0, in partnership with their Sustainability Center, and how it impacted students in a different way, right, around community engagement and supporting at-risk students. We'll learn a little bit more about some of Clayton's initiatives around the Matador Exchange, and then we'll do a little review and open it up for some Q&A at the end. So Clayton, I'm actually going to pass it to you so you can give us a little bit of background around CSUN and your Sustainability Center, and so go ahead.
Sounds good. Thank you, Alex. Yeah, so here at CSUN, we're a pretty large urban campus. We have over 40,000 students enrolled, and a majority of them do commute to campus from across LA. This creates a lot of our own challenges. I'm sure many of you know, if you are a commuter campus, it's really hard to engage students when they're constantly going on and off campus. And a majority of our emissions do come from scope 3, namely the commuting. That isn't to say, though, that we aren't really up there in terms of our sustainability initiatives. At the same time, we are a gold-rated STARS campus through ASHE. And I really think that's because of the collaboration that we have through the various sustainability entities we have on campus. So we have a facility side, and they're the ones working on our physical sustainability aspects like lighting, utilities. We have the Institute for Sustainability. I like to think of them as the education side. They help start the minor in sustainability on campus, and they host workshops and seminars throughout the year to teach students about sustainability. And then last, we have us, Associated Student Sustainability. I like to think of us as the student side. We are under Associated Students, and we have outreach and programming throughout the year to help engage students and teach them about sustainability as well. Within AS, though, we have a variety of programs to help benefit our students, like the ticket office for subsidized tickets to theme parks or transit in LA, the Children's Center, which is our on-site daycare facility for students' children, and of course, sustainability. And we do a lot of our own programming America Recycles Day in the fall, Sustainable Office Program for like office certifications, and of course, Matador Exchange. Next slide.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, Clayton, thank you so much for that background and context at CSUN. They're doing so many incredible initiatives across campus, and obviously they've been a Moto customer on the mobile app side for many years, and we're seeing a lot of those initiatives through the campus app as well. So it's really great to see. So to talk a little bit more about the sharing economy, provide some context. Obviously, the sharing economy has many names: peer-to-peer exchanges, recyclement of goods, ride sharing, a lot of different kinds of sharing economies. But something that all of them have together is around the impact of sustainability. And you can see this note, and we'll be happy to share this link for anybody interested in the Earth Institute at Columbia University, how they describe the sharing economy as it relates to the transformation of sustainability in an accessible way, right? Little things that everyday people can do to impact a global sustainability initiatives, and whether it's consumption or affordability and economic growth, we're seeing firsthand how this is impacting. And if we look at the actual market size of the sharing economy, think of the Ubers, the Lyfts, the Airbnbs, and even the Craigslist. About 6-7 years ago, the market size of about 15 billion, and now at 355 billion. Looking into the future, now all these numbers are actually even smaller after some of the IPOs that have happened in the tech industry. But you're looking at above a 2,200% growth given these trends. So it really is picking up steam fast. So we're not really talking about the future, we're talking about the present and the future as it relates to sustainability. Specifically for students, however, and how they feel about a sharing economy on their campus. This is information gathered from a PwC report, and you saw the PwC logo on the last slide. College-age students and consumers really believe that the sharing economy has impact beyond just, hey, now I can stay on a couch somewhere through a website, but it's about convenience and the ability to be able to go on my phone to connect with an individual around me, walk there and exchange goods or exchange services. The connection that it builds between people, right? This community of commerce, where you buy and sell, where you transact, where you barter, and where you trade is your community. And reduce and it also reduces the need to buy physical items. When I say physical, I mean physically new items. Students coming to campus, they don't have to do 10 shopping carts full of Bed Bath & Beyond new products, or any retail brand, when most likely the things that a end of year freshman going into their sophomore year is getting rid of is something that a high schooler going into college is going to want or need for their dorm. And so how can we not only enable students to connect with each other within this community, but provide affordable initiatives for them to exchange the goods that they no longer need with the new student population that does. And obviously what we're talking about on this call in large part is the impact on the environment, a reduction of waste, really this true recyclement of goods through the sharing economy. And overall, so much of what we're talking about is really built on trust. And that's why in the university and the higher ed space, there's such a unique opportunity for campuses to facilitate these kinds of commercial activities, because it really is based on trust. And so this is not a generic marketplace concept like a Craigslist or a Facebook marketplace. At least on Moto, you actually have to have a student ID to log in, right? You have to have, we integrate with single sign-on. So when you arrive on this marketplace, not only are they students, but they're students in your community, and there's an element of immediate social responsibility and trust through that authentication. So, for a marketplace, for an economy that is based on trust, universities are a really incredible, starting point for these students. So just to give you, I know we've talked a lot about the sharing economy, and just to give you a little bit more of a background on what Moto Marketplace is before we dig in here. We enable universities to facilitate a wide range of student-first commercial activities, and that is what we're talking about, student to student, the way students buy and sell to each other. But we also support student organizations, the commercial activities from membership dues to branded merchandise, events, registrations, et cetera, for the student organizations for their campus community. And then campus-wide commerce. We support schools in voluntary meal plans, in room reservations, and a wide range of different departmental transactions and departmental offerings to their student population. And our goal is to put it within one central platform to the mobile-first student in a way, in a visual display and a functional display that they're familiar with. And through the integration with Modo in the Modo Campus app, we're able to take this all to a new level, to alert students through push notifications, to engage with them on the devices that they're using every day, and then provide back-end management tools and analytic tools for the universities to see how are their students engaging, what are the commercial activities of their student organizations to be able to track those in their university departments. So that's a little bit of background on Modo Marketplace. And now what we want to dig into is the Matador Exchange. And so now you're seeing a live version of what's existing today at Cal State Northridge, as well as their integration in their campus app with the Matador Exchange button here, taking you to their marketplace page. Now, I began working with Cal State Northridge around 3 years ago when they were looking for a solution to solve a safety and security issue on campus. They had a student that was actually killed selling an item on Craigslist, and their campus has been riddled with fraud scams and just general hazards from these generic marketplaces. Their police station even set up an internet purchase exchange location, and we've seen this at a ton of Cal States and schools overall, that their police stations, there's no way to really combat this. So they figured if we put a surveillance camera and a floodlight and we force these exchanges to happen at our police stations, we're at least able to track when something goes wrong, which is definitely a great step. But obviously there's an opportunity here for a safe and secure marketplace for students to engage with each other. And so that was the first drive for them to look towards a marketplace. But beyond that, obviously there was a high cost and a high spend for students when it comes to buying new items, instead of being able to exchange the ones that they have themselves. And when you can't exchange the items that you want to get rid of, you end up leaving them on the street, throwing them away, leaving them in their dorms or in their apartment buildings, and it just an incredible increase in waste. And so they saw at the time no way to offer a marketplace that would function the way they needed it to, but also that would integrate inside of their campus app. And that's when we started supporting them and what the Matador Exchange 1.0 was. And this was an initiative through the Associated Students, as Clayton mentioned earlier on this call, that has really incredible initiatives across campus. And we know across the CSUs the impact that the AS and the ASIs have on these different campuses. And so the Matador Exchange is one of their initiatives. They launched it to their students in 2018. And did really incredible marketing around branding their marketplace. Not only calling it the Matador Exchange, but with such creative students and marketing teams at the AS, created videos and newsletters, newspaper articles, T-shirts, tabling events. They did really incredible things to market their marketplace. And in the beginning, they were seeing $15,000 worth of items being posted to the marketplace every single month. 120% average user growth rate. And in terms of the technology itself, it was able to be integrated in single sign-on, white labeled their domain name in a very, very short amount of time with a very light lift, from their IT department. So we found a really, really great success leading into their 1.0, if you will, of the Matador Exchange. And when they launched their marketplace, just to give you a sense of the kinds of things that we were seeing from students, because it really ranges so broadly, right? What do students sell to each other? So things like a commuter bike, right? I need a bike. I'm kind of far away from campus, or I moved closer to campus. Now I don't need it. This was one of my favorites. We had a student actually would paint pictures of pets and had this talent of making your pet look very cool. So they would sell these pet designs for $5, And this is a way for them to use their talent and their skill to make more money for themselves and bring kind of joy and value to their campus community. Obviously, this is a very popular kind of post that we see, which was selling furniture on the marketplace. Anything from bedding, chairs, night tables, lamps, couches. You'd see that during the move-in and move-out process, and of course, just during the year. But a lot of furniture we would see posted. This gives you a little bit of an idea of the range of price of the things that students are selling. There's a $5 pet artwork and then a $9,000 car. So it really ranges again, and this is a place that students feel comfortable to sell something from the lowest cost to the highest cost, because they want to do this within their campus community on a marketplace that is secure, authenticated, and provides also digital payments for these things. So they're not just cash transactions. The HP computer is a good example of the academic materials that we see on the marketplace. We work closely with bookstores in many universities to facilitate buyback programs and things like that. But so an incredible amount of academic material, electronics. Again, a good example with the textbook here for psychology, you can actually see they've included their ISBN number through the ISBN number field that is on the adding a post form. So a lot of different kinds of items we see on the marketplace. This is another one of my favorite ones. Now, this is in no way replacing Uber or any ride-sharing company, but the idea that students can post to their campus community what they need, right? With Thanksgiving break coming up, maybe they want a ride to the airport at a certain time that everybody's going, and a student who's staying local is looking for new ways to make money. This is just an example, like I said, of the wanted section of marketplace. So we've seen items for sale. We've seen services like this math tutoring section here, $20 per hour. We've seen tickets. We've seen, it's just such a wide variety of different kinds of posts. So this just gives you a little bit of a taste of what we see on campus. And whatever you'd expect your students to post, they're posting a wide range of things. But something I want to touch on really quickly is about the potential for inappropriate content. We get these questions a lot, and specifically at CSUN, we have image recognition, we have keyword flagging, we have automated ways to make sure that the content on the marketplace is clean. But because we are authenticating the student through single sign-on, we really haven't seen any inappropriate posts, and so we just get to see these amazing initiatives that students create to try to bring value to themselves and their campus community. Now I want to talk a little bit about the IT implementation, and Clayton can share a little bit of his experience as well on what it was like getting things onboarded. So for the IT implementation through Modo, we have something called Modo App Center, where everything is incredibly easy to do, and you can really do it yourself. All you need to do is to validate the single sign-on credentials, which you can see here in this screenshot. Once the metadata is validated and you've uploaded your campus metadata, you just whitelist your domain. So for them, it was csunas.org/Matador Exchange. And then you can integrate in your campus app. And by simply creating a module. Now, obviously, this is incredibly easy if you have a Modo campus app. If you don't, we can still help you with that integration as well. But it can all happen on one platform and just so incredibly fast and easy, especially with folks who maybe don't work with IT every day. It's a little bit of a breath of fresh air in terms of an initiative. And maybe Clayton, you can speak a little bit to your experience with your IT department in getting Marketplace and the Matador Exchange live.
Yes, exactly. I gotta be honest, I had never worked with our stateside IT department before, and a lot of the stuff that Alex is talking about kind of goes over my head with IT, but when I started working with them, it was honestly super easy. I got to know one of the IT staff members really well, and anytime that I had issues or questions about just how to set up Matador Exchange or work with Matador Exchange between the app that we have, it was super easy, and she was able to answer all my questions. And I must say, because CSUN does also have our campus app through Modo, we were also able to put our Matador Exchange marketplace onto the campus app super easily. And yeah, it was altogether just a really seamless experience.
Awesome. Awesome, Clayton. And maybe we can, it would be great to continue and maybe talk a little bit more about the relaunch of the Matador Exchange when it was kind of put in your lap and see how you ran with it. So we would love to hear a little bit more about the relaunch of your Matador Exchange.
Definitely. So with the relaunch, we had quite a few new ideas in mind and how we wanted to use Matador Exchange at CSUN, not just as our campus-based marketplace, which is doing great before. But I think one of the best parts of Matador Exchange, just altogether with all the programming that we've been doing, is like the self-sustaining aspect of it. In our past version of Matador Exchange, called Student L, like Student Recycle L List, we would probably rely, or we used to rely mostly on a newsletter that we sent out every week that consisted of our entire inventory of items that we wanted to give back out to students. Our team would have to respond constantly whenever students would reply back to the email or the newsletter, request an item. Our team had to respond to that, figure out how we got it to them, and it was extremely confusing. Now that we can have our items posted on Matador Exchange, we don't have to man the newsletter as much anymore. We still send it out, and we'll talk more about the newsletter in a bit. But now that posts and the newsletter can be hyperlinked directly to Matador Exchange posts, students can log in and claim items on their own time rather than having our team having to constantly communicate with students. So that was one of the honestly nicest aspects about Matador Exchange for us in terms of maintenance and upkeep. For sustainability, obviously one of the biggest components for us as AS Sustainability, I think a lot of campuses are making their own versions of free stores nowadays or variations of it, where students can basically give and take items that they have for free or at a low cost. I think part of the issue that we ran into with, CSUN here at AS Sustainability, we also wanted to make our own free store. But one of the issues we ran into was just having the space for it. We have a small warehouse behind our sustainability building that houses our items, but it's not necessarily the safest place for students to be coming in to check things out. It is also where we run our recycling operation. So we have a forklift running, we have a baler running. We don't really want students waltzing in, grabbing items, and then getting hit by a forklift. So Matador Exchange really let us accept people's donations into the program, but rather than having them come in, put it on the shelf, and leave whenever and more unattended, we could have our team post the item online after accepting the donation, and then putting it in our inventory so that whenever a student claims the item, all they have to do is walk over to our office. Our team will be ready to give them the item. After we've taken it off the shelf, they don't have to run any risk of the general students coming in and coming in contact with the heavy machinery. And it just altogether made for a more seamless experience. Last is how we wanted to address accessibility within the program between our donations and just the affordability. I know recently I saw a talk from Dr. Pendeker over at USC about just active inclusion in our programming that really impacted how I view our AS sustainability program. I know students don't always have the time to shop around at free stores or even just pick up items across campus. If they're juggling their own class load or maybe multiple jobs off campus, the second they get off class, they have to drive to their job. So part of how we were able to increase the accessibility of our program is all of the items that we receive in terms of donations are all free. So students don't have to pay anything in order to get the items that we give out. But we've also been able to partner with the CSUN Food Pantry so that we've been able to talk with them, communicate about the needs that students have at their side. They talk about how they often need can openers because students may get cans from the food pantry but have no way of opening them. And other things like Tupperware and just your cooking supply essentials like pans, spatulas. And those items rarely get donated to the food pantry, but we often get a huge supply of them when students are moving out of housing at the end of the year. So just creating that connection, we were able to give a lot of the stuff that we have in our supply that students weren't taking initially and set those aside for students that actually needed it at the food pantry. Next slide. Yeah, so IT is set up, of course, and we've made our partnerships and got our system in place on how we want to give out the items. But now what? Some of the difficulties I'm sure a lot of campuses have, just like I was saying with the heavy commuter campus, is how we want to get the word out that the program is even here. How are we going to get students to log into Matter Exchange in the first place? So first, social media, probably the biggest thing with students in our time, especially Instagram. We've been working on creating this Instagram post that advertise Matter Exchange to our students and cross-promote across our different programming. So the picture we have up here is a program we call Swap and Pop. It's our pop-up thrift shop where students can give us donations of their clothing, and then twice a year we'll have kind of like a thrift shop event where students can come in, try on clothes, and it's all for free as well, just like our Matador Exchange. And at those posts and events, we're able to cross-promote and talk to them about Matador Exchange, where maybe they want to donate things other than clothing, maybe they want to donate their kitchen supplies, and how they can get that. And we're already working on our social media posts to also post things about Matter Exchange and how they can sign up. It's also important to leverage the other accounts on your campus. So our own account probably only has like around 1,000 followers, but our main associated student account has over 11,000 followers. And so being able to connect with these other campus departments and see which ones have the high follower counts, you're able to connect with them, maybe have them tag you in a post, or even if you have a great enough connection, have them post on your behalf so that more students can learn about it. For our newsletters though, so Student L, the one picture, that was our old version where we would send out a newsletter every week, posting the free supplies. I think this is where we were able to get a lot of the initial sign-on with Matador Exchange as well, because we were able to just convert the newsletter from Student L to Matador Exchange, where, like I said, we would post pictures like our hot items this week on our newsletter and hyperlink it directly to Matador Exchange. So if students maybe hear about Matter Exchange but kind of forget about it, but they are part of the newsletter, they'll be getting like a quick reminder every week about items that they might want. And it's easy as them to just click on the item and it'll directly link them to the Matter Exchange website. The newsletter started around April of 2019 with 0 subscribers. And we were able to get it almost to 1,000 subscribers by 2019, November 2019, and we're still growing. And just for like some quick statistics about our newsletter as well, our Student L/Matter Exchange version, so this is the one geared towards students, had an open rate of about 50%. And this is much better in comparison to, we have the staff version as well, Recycle L, that only has an open rate about 30%. So with our hyperlinking, we're able to just really direct traffic back to Matter Exchange at all times. And just the more places, the better. Newsletters, your campus app, websites, the more places you can put Matter Exchange, the better. Next picture. So last is tabling, our tabling events, probably the highest effort form of marketing, but I think it's one of the most important as well, because it's really just how you get the face-to-face contact to make sure people are aware of the program. This is how we got a majority of our subscribers to our newsletter in the first place. So we have a technique where we usually use a QR code that links directly to a sign-in page for Matador Exchange in the newsletter. Students might just be walking by and they'll see our table with our QR code and we can get their attention. All the students have to do is open up their phone, take a picture of the QR code, and then just type in their information and they'll start getting the newsletters every week. So we find that's better than just telling them only about Matador Exchange and how to find it, because after they leave the table, they might have completely forgotten who they talked to as they get to their class. But like I said, the constant reminders about Matter Exchange is really what gets them back. And in addition, just to get their engagement into the tabling, we have giveaways from our program, like our free notebooks, binders, and pencils that we got donated to us. So once they grab those items, we usually kind of like give an exchange. We're like, hey, if you want a free notebook, why don't you sign up for a newsletter? So that give and take is really what helps as well. And I know this past, or when Matador Exchange first started, our marketing team was able to put information about Matador Exchange on our planner that we give out to students every year. And that's one of the biggest ways we're able to get additional traction into the program. Next slide. Some statistics about our program. So since our rebranding in spring semester, so January 2020, we've had an estimated savings for students about over $400 by giving out 35 items. And we calculate this by searching up the retail value of the items that we give out. So we basically, let's say we get a donation of like a desk fan, we'll look up the item probably like on Amazon or equivalent, and then put it on a spreadsheet before giving the items away. So that at the end of the month, we're able to sum up the value of those items. In our first full month in February of 2020, we were able to give out 26 items totaling in $230 in savings. However, this isn't with our full marketing push, since our Instagram posts are still in development, and obviously with events and programming kind of on hold due to COVID. I think that we have a lot of opportunity for growth when it comes to our marketing and just getting more students on board. So next picture. So I just wanted to kind of compare how our statistics have been going with our Matador exchange versus our staff Recycle L, like office supply exchange program. So staff on our campus are also part of kind of like a version of Matador exchange, where we also send out a newsletter every week listing all of the office supplies that staff members can get. This has been going on for a little while now, and it's more fully established. So our Recycle L MailChimp newsletter has only about 600 of the total 4,000 staff members on campus. But in 2019, our staff version was able to reuse over 1,800 items. And just in February of this year, so compared to February of Matter Exchange, we were able to give out over 204 items and received over 200 items in our donations as well. So if we could just capture that same 15% of the 40,000 students that we have on campus, I really think the savings that we have to our campus and for the students can only grow. I mean, we're already at 1,000 subscribers. So I think once we get our full marketing push out there, the savings that we have for students is really just really great. And I'm really happy how Matter Exchange has like facilitated the savings for us. So yeah, I think that's it. Next slide. We can go over the key takeaways.
It's awesome. Awesome, Clayton. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I could just say that working with Clayton and his entire team at the AS at CSUN, seeing all the initiatives and creative things that they're doing across campus, of course with the Matador Exchange and with Marketplace as a whole, but across campus has really been really inspiring. So we're excited to continue to support him and his team on new initiatives with the Matador Exchange to continue to support their students. And so, we've covered a lot of content, a lot of different things on this webinar, and I kind of want to do a little recap and really excited to hear some of your questions and comments for both myself and Clayton. But overall, what we're talking about in regards to creating a marketplace for your campus where students can exchange items with themselves, departments like your sustainability office can provide donated items at no cost or at a low cost to the students. It's how do we facilitate that in a safe and engaging way to impact campus life? It really is a light lift. I know every technology provider will say your IT is not going to have any issues, and then 5 months later you still haven't launched. But this is truly, and when I try to show in the screenshots, such a lightweight solution. And also so customizable that somebody who never interacts with IT on a day-to-day basis can work closely with them to launch it very fast. Excuse me. And the other thing is the collaboration across different campus departments. And so many times that you'll launch an initiative and it really is siloed for your organization. But the beauty of a marketplace system is that you can every department, every student organization, and almost every auxiliary or stakeholder on campus can find some kind of value out of this marketplace, whether it's a participant through the exchanges or having their own store to benefit campus. And so the kind of cross-departmental activities that can be facilitated through marketplace we've seen is just really exciting. Overall, we've built this from the ground up for the mobile first student. And we've built this with the students in mind, from the layout of tiles, from where buttons are to mimicking the UI of this marketplace to the similar platforms that they use in their social and daily lives. And so building for the student first has been our focus, but not just for student first, but mobile student first. And so much of that is being able to integrate in your campus app. And if you are a Moto customer, there's you have so much value in with Moto marketplaces. You can integrate your campus marketplace in your app literally in minutes, to drop it in and have it, utilizing push notifications in many cases, a single sign-on to get you in your app and your marketplace. And it really is going to drive so much value, retention, and engagement back to your campus app and take it to a new level for your students. And as Clayton mentioned earlier, this is something that once you set it up, you can build initiatives around, but it's not something that requires daily management. It's not something where you have to go on every day to monitor posts, to see activity, to make sure that the platform is running itself, to push new code to, or anything like that. This is truly something that is self-sustaining on your campus, and doesn't require that daily management. And of course, you can put in as much effort and build around it as you can and as you'd like. But once you launch this, it can just grow organically on your campus and still provide that value for your students. So I just want to thank everybody for participating, for listening. I would really encourage any of you, if you have any questions while Clayton is here, while myself is here, we'd love to answer them in the admin console that you can propose to the to the group. So we'd love to hear any of your questions. Again, really grateful for the time that you spent. I know there's a lot that you can do with your day today, with all that's going on, and to carve out some for Marketplace and to learn more about it, means a lot to us. And we're looking forward to being able to support you guys when students are able to come back to campus. So if you have any questions, please drop them in here. You can also learn more at motolabs.com/marketplace, and on the information that will be sent out after this webinar. So thank you all so much. And Clayton, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex and Clayton. We do have a couple questions, so folks, feel free to stay on the line. We do want to make sure that you get your answers to these questions. Looks like many of them are for you, Clayton. So our first question we have is, what has your student response been like with Marketplace, and how involved are your students on this project?
So I think student response has been pretty good, especially because, at least for our side, our items are free, so all the students want their free stuff. But I think just having a place where students can post only to other CSUN students and staff members, it's a much more close-knit community rather than just open to the public like a Craigslist is. And they're able to negotiate better and come from a place of understanding that you have classes, we have a busy schedule, but we're able to post on Matador Exchange. What was the second half of the question?
The second half asks, how involved are your students on this project?
Yes. So the general student population doesn't necessarily work directly on it, but I know our team, I have an education and outreach team consisting of 5 students, and right now I have 3 of them devoted to Matador Exchange. Obviously, like we were saying, self-sustaining, they don't have to, but this is more helping to manage our free system and work on marketing to get it up and running. And they're, I think, really committed. They get really excited at the end of every month for the statistics, because we have our meetings every week. And when one of the students comes by and talks about how many items we gave out, our whole meeting gets excited, because they're oh, we hit new goals, we hit new savings. It's a great time for everyone.
That's amazing. Thank you, Clayton. We have another question here that asked what your long-term vision is for the Matador Exchange, what you're hoping to see in the future.
It's probably what I'm most excited about, which I've always dreamed of using this online version for, is, well, one, I talked a little bit about Recycle L. So our staff version of this free office supply exchange right now is still on a newsletter only. I would really want to transition that onto Matador Exchange as well, so that both students and staff can utilize the service. I mean, that's just an extra 4,000 people that we could sign on to Matador Exchange. But seeing how easy it's been to give out items from our student side and how much work we have to put in for the staff side, I think it would be a lot easier if we could push everything that we have in our inventory onto Matador Exchange. For other services though, I know when I was still in my undergrad, we were working on a program to basically have this like zero waste event service where students and staff could rent reusable like dinnerware, plates, cups, utensils for their meetings and like club meetings. And my vision for Matador Exchange, because they have that services tab, is to have associated students provide that service to students and staff, where they can go onto Matador Exchange, basically reserve maybe like a set of like 30 plates and utensils for like a meeting. All they have to do is come in, pick it up, bring it back, and we'll be able to like wash or figure out how to sanitize. Still in the works. We run into some LA County sanitation issues with cleaning and stuff, but we're working on it. But I think that's been a really big dream of mine to have that service available, because I'm sure everyone's been having issues with their composting and stuff as well, as everything's changing in waste. But yeah, big dream.
Great, thank you. We have a food pantry related question that came in. As many of you on the line who work perhaps on campus and with student affairs perhaps, you are very aware of the intersections of our student populations across the nation, and in the California State University like you, Clayton, the intersections of basic needs challenges, sustainability, affordability, all those issues combined. So this question asks, how did you create the partnership with the food pantry, and how can others create different departmental partnerships on campus?
Honestly, it was as easy as a cold call and just wanting to make a meeting to talk about the service that we have. And I mean, we had a service and they had some needs that we were able to help with. I mean, it also helps out. We have a food pantry, they have a pop-up pantry like every month that staff members are welcome to volunteer at, and I know I've helped out with that too. So I've been able to get my foot in the door that way. But honestly, just like emailing them and telling them about the service that you have, I'm sure they're going to be excited to get free cooking supplies and other materials that they have for their students as well.
That's great. And I might just add something about the functionality of Moto Marketplace is we do have some functionality where you can collect monetary donations for the food pantry through the Moto Marketplace or through the Matador Exchange. So, if other departments are wanting to kind of piggyback on the project and also support their students in other ways through that intersection, depending on those who are listening, if you have ideas relating to donation drives or food pantry type of considerations, that's something that can be housed within this feature as well.
Yeah, and just to add on, Mia, I think that's just to add on. I think you and Clayton have touched on a really key piece around the departments, and just one more thing to add on as I think it's such an important topic around food pantry, food insecurity, and also other initiatives from other departments across campus. The ability for not just these programs to collaborate and partner with the marketplace but to even what we have is to set up a store with its own unique link and its own products and services or free items that it can deliver its students, where they have really a stake in what's going on in the marketplace beyond just a collaboration, is something that we've seen across various campuses, and we're really excited about as well. So definitely a hot button topic, and something that is that we really take seriously in terms of building product for around marketplace.
Awesome, thank you. We're getting some great questions coming in. So we do have about 11 minutes that we can maybe run through a couple more of these. So Clayton, what key considerations would you give to campuses interested in launching Marketplace?
I would say definitely your marketing campaign. How are you actually going to get your students to get Matador Exchange or log in the first place, or Marketplace, not Matador Exchange, excuse me. Because it's great to have all these programs, but like I was saying, even not just Matador Exchange for us, but all of the other programming that we have, the most difficult part is just getting the word out there that these services and resources for students are available, especially if they're just coming to campus, going to class, and leaving right after. We got to figure out how to actually engage them. But in addition to the marketing, thinking how you can use the service as an engagement in addition to just buying and selling items. So like I was thinking, we have our free service, the partnerships with other campus. So developing those connections and getting people on board and wanting Matter Exchange before it's even there, so you can have the extra support in its implementation and marketing. Because if it's just you spreading it around, it's doable. But if you have more stakeholders on campus that want to have Matter Exchange successful and are able to share it with their groups and their students that they're connected with, it's just going to be even more successful.
Wonderful. So we have another really great one that just came in, and I can definitely sense the value and importance of this one. So thank you for the asker for asking it. Okay, so Clayton, what has your relationship with campus IT been, and what would you recommend for non-IT related campus departments who are launching Marketplace?
So yeah, kind of like I was saying before, I had never really talked with our stateside IT department before. Our campus is a little weird. We have like 5 different auxiliaries or 4 auxiliaries that don't really connect with stateside as much. But once we started working on getting Matter Exchange up and running again with the Matter Exchange 2.0 and communicating with getting it on our CSUN app, it's honestly been a really easy experience. I really got to know one of the IT staff members, Tiffany, and she was actually even able to help with the marketing stuff as well, like working with me on where we wanted to put it on the app. She and her IT team developed a little icon or logo that we were able to use on the app. And now whenever we have any issues running with Matador Exchange, if there's any like tech or IT issues, I'm able to just reach out to Tiffany and she's able to respond and help me.
Wonderful. I have 2 more that came in. If there's any others, feel free to, again, put them in the chat. So what features or aspects of the exchange have helped you and your staff out the most?
Definitely, like I said, the self-sufficient aspect. Our students don't have to put near as much effort in managing an inventory because the website does it all for us in terms of management. That isn't to say though that all like other program is all free items. Of course, students are able to post and sell things at cost on their own. Like it doesn't have to be free. And on that whole aspect, I don't think I've really put almost any effort in managing the for sale item stuff because it all does it itself. And then honestly, the statistics, we get to see a report of the items that were taken from our profile, the number of items, and we get admin level abilities so that we can also monitor or put specific locations where items are given out. So we've been able to put basically every building and location we could think of on campus as a place to give things out. So even staff members can go in and be like, oh, I have a leftover microscope at Sierra Hall that I want to give to someone or sell. Anyone can post their location and put that in the drop down, and it just makes it a much safer and more streamlined service because people could put the locations that they want.
Perfect. Okay, Clayton, the last question we have here in our chat is, what was your biggest takeaway after launching the Marketplace?
Biggest takeaway probably has to go back to just being able to, I guess, like help the student body. I mean, as you probably saw from my slide, I'm really big on the statistics and the numbers because not only does it show like how much of a value that we have to the students and the savings that we have for them, especially for the students that are low income or in need. It also shows how successful our program is so that when the budget season comes around, we're able to talk to our director and be like, look at how great we're doing. But biggest takeaway, I'm just really happy that we've already been able to give away these items to students for free and just be able to facilitate the service so that students can actually safely sell their items rather than a sketchy Craigslist person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, well, it looks like that's all the questions that we have. That was a healthy list of questions we had coming in. So thank you all for participating and staying active and engaged throughout the webinar. If there are any other questions that maybe you have that come up later that you would like to ask and get some more information on, again, we point you to the website that Alex has there on the screen, but you can feel free to reach out to any of us to get more information. And I just want to do a little virtual round of applause for Clayton and Alex. Thank you both so much for the presentation today, and thank you so much for your time on talking about such a unique and interesting initiative that our campuses are launching. So thank you so much. For those of you who are listening in, again, thank you. But if you have ideas regarding a marketplace or exchanges supporting sustainability or other departments on campus, we're here for you. We're happy to help you kind of articulate that vision with a marketplace or through Modo in general. It's been an absolute privilege working with Cal State Northridge and the Cal State system through all these years with Modo. So we're excited, and it would be a privilege to work with you as well. So let us know how we can support you in that. But in the meantime, again, we'll be sharing with you a recording of today's webinar so you can refer to that and share it amongst colleagues. But I wish you well, stay safe, stay positive, and hopefully we'll connect again soon. Thank you all for your time.
Thanks so much.